do something here.
This is what I wanted to talk
I don't
about.
know.
So let's talk about it
Okay.
then. What you got, Yemi? Can Arsenal do it?
Absolutely not. No, they're the baby brother. They
Jeez.
will always be the
Shots
baby brother.
fired.
They will. I listen. I am a big fan. We talk about my Nigerian brothers, but Bukayo Saka, what he's doing
God's child.
is
Starboy.
nothing more
God's child. That's true.
than incredible. I mean, you watch that game against Manchester United, and every time he touched the ball, you're as a Chelsea fan, like I'm like excited I'm excited to see Arsenal lose, but every time he touched the ball, I'm like, oh, he's like, and it just he gives you the feels, and I sort of liken it to some of the times where I was watching Chelsea, and I'm like, okay, stop it, just pass it to Hazard, just give him the ball, right?
Give the man,
and I love the way that they're playing. You look at players that might have been written off before, like Xhaka, Thomas Partey, who was on the couldn't stay healthy list, right? Even players like I don't know, even players like Saliba, who I thought, okay, this is not your time. You can't play, right? Maybe
Really?
you need to maybe have a little bit more experience in the French league. They're playing fantastic. They're playing well, but it's still Arsenal. It's still Arsenal.
So you've been, I try to stay respectful as often as I can, but you've been making too many digs at Arsenal for this whole time. Like, let's just bring up the fact that Arteta alone is 6-1-2. So Chelsea can't beat Arsenal when Arteta's at the helm, first of all. Second of all, Arsenal have made more trophies and have beat Chelsea more times. So I'm just saying this, like he's brought it up. I'm not going to let it, I can let it slide a number of times, but when he calls him the little brother, it's got to stop because Chelsea's only really been in the picture for the last 25 years. Let's relax.
No, bro,
Honestly.
listen. This is, let me say, how I see things. Like when we're talking big bros, little bros, like there's a moving scale.
I didn't bring up big brother, little brother. Let's keep Let's keep that in check.
All I'm saying is there's a moving scale, and it's always like this is how I feel. It's always convenient to be like, oh yeah, like my team was a dynasty back then. Like I feel like we got to just look at things recently, and that was I'll say it. That was disrespectful to call you guys the baby brother. You know what I mean? But
am I wrong though?
He does have a point, Brooks. I mean, we've never been invincible, but it's like what have you done in the last decade? We just got to look at this thing, in a vacuum. We're not talking about a lifetime achievement awards. This is not.
I don't know what you're talking about, so that's why we got to bring this up. That's
it's
the jabs have been coming, they've been coming, and now I got you on the ropes and I had to attack. So let's just go.
I will respond to that. If we're talking about the Invincibles, we're talking about legendary players. Of course, Arsenal's in that conversation. Of course, this is like we can't do that. Of course, 100%. But like, if we honestly think about this, over the last 10 years, like Arsenal making the Champions League,
it's just funny when you bring up recent. 10 years ain't recent. What phone were you using 10 years ago? So recent is what?
iPhone 3GS.
10 years, really recent?
3GS.
Okay, what's the timeline you've been like, Brooks? Please tell me. What timeline?
I'm not the one that's bringing this up. So
3GS.
I'm just going to keep defending because I'm being attacked by two blues right now.
I don't think you're being attacked. I think that I'm just. If you feel attacked for us spitting the facts, then maybe. But no. But I think you have a good point. Arteta's been doing very well, and I can admit to that, and I can as much as I hated it. I thought that Arsenal played so well against Manchester United. I thought that Arsenal in big games have been stepping up, scoring goals late. They've been
That's the difference.
Even
during the last run of Arsene Wenger's era, Arsenal was not winning, stepping up in big games.
Yes.
Manchester United, just the thought of Manchester United would scare them. Just the thought of Chelsea, and they would go down 5-1 before the half even ended.
Right.
So yeah, I like what they're doing currently, and that's why I hope that they continue with Graham Potter Chelsea, because I think that Graham Potter can be that Arsenal now, or for Chelsea. Now let me just say, yes, obviously, I've said this at least 4 times in this podcast. For the last 20 years, there's been no one more successful in world football aside from Real Madrid
Right.
than Chelsea.
No, for
And
sure.
they have to have the respect. They have to have the credit. They have to have the recognition. They've been incredible.
Yeah.
So,
But this
and
is-
again, like,
This is
they've
the
been
point,
great.
and I agree with you 100%. And like this isn't well, obviously it's not contentious.
No, I'm
Brooks,
joking. I'm
we,
joking. I'm
We
joking.
know each
I'm
other a
joking.
long time, but
Yeah.
my point is it's not that Arsenal isn't playing well right now. It's not that. We can all see that they're at the top of the league. They've been at the top of the league for a number of weeks now. They have been very consistent. They don't give up that many goals, and they are putting the ball in the back of the net. That's exactly what you want. My point is with the young players, consistency over a larger period of time with multiple competitions. Is that something that we believe, as of right now, that we can see them do? And
That's a tough question to answer.
and so, because we don't know, all we can do is we can try to project what we've seen in the past over to the future, and based off that, right, with the current players, is that something that's going to happen? Is Granit Xhaka going to get a red card in a big game, right? Is I don't know, Aaron Ramsdale going to make a critical mistake in a big game, right? Like these sorts of things are questions that we should ask, and I don't think it's a jab on Arsenal to say it, because at the end of the day,
I don't think it is either. I don't think that at all.
Of course, because at the end of the day, if we were asked the same question about Chelsea, well, can N'Golo Kante play in a big game? What are we talking about, right? Like, can Chelsea score? In a big tournament, can they win consistently on the road in a big tournament to take home the trophy? Of course, but we just don't. We don't have that same sample. We don't have that same evidence for Arsenal, and so as a Chelsea fan, I'm gonna be very optimistic to Chelsea, and that's kind of how we are. That's kind of where we are as of right now, at least.
No, and as an Arsenal fan, Blaine asks me the question. Blaine's gone. Blaine asks me the question every week. Can Arsenal do it? And I've always said, don't ask me this question. Like, I'm not going to be one of these Arsenal fanboys that are on YouTube saying that, Arsenal is going to win the title, after week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because it's not realistic, especially as you point out, knowing the Arsenal that we've been watching for the last 10 years. What I will say is what you've touched on already is that the Arsenal that we're watching this year, break away all the 9 years, is a completely different Arsenal. And they would have they wouldn't have drawn against Newcastle. They would have lost against Newcastle 2 weeks ago. They wouldn't have lost 1-0 to Man City and played a way better first half to Man City and then lost to pretty much a Pep designed goal. Mm-hmm. They would have lost 5-1 or something, a few years ago. So the progress that they're making is incredible. My issue with Arsenal right now is that it's mental. If it's mental in the fans' minds, it's absolutely mental in the players' minds. Do you know that, like, at some point, these, like you said, these young kids that haven't really been at it for too long, granted, these young kids now have been the stars for 3 years of this team, but it's going to maybe come down to the wire where it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, we saw it last season. They had to win one game to make Champions League. Just one. And they couldn't do it. So while they're playing better and while it's so fun to finally be excited about an Arsenal team again, Grace is like, why are you an Arsenal fan? Like, why do we do this to ourselves? And I'm like, this season, I'm like, this is why. This is it. But so to answer that question, I still think that you can't obviously count them out. They're in first place. But with City only trailing behind them, and what we, saw them do just a couple nights ago in the FA Cup, like, it's still, in my opinion, obviously Arsenal have more points, so it's technically theirs to lose. But City are the champions. They're coming for it still. I think that's really the only one to be afraid of. I don't think, Gary Neville's an idiot, in my opinion. United's not going to finish above them. I think that if Arsenal don't win it, it's City, then it's Arsenal. Probably looking like almost Newcastle at this point in time, which is wild and good for them. But yeah, I'm still reluctant. I'm still not one of those Arsenal fans that's going to be like, yeah, it's ours. It's not. It's very much not. It would be amazing if it is, but Let's just take it 1 week at a time still.
Yeah, and
But is it exciting? Yes.
I'm man enough to admit that I was wrong about Arsenal. I thought they were going to be the same old kind of, choking in the last seconds, and they've proved me wrong time and time again. If I was a betting man, I would have lost tons of money on Arsenal this season. But yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how they're going to be now that they're sort of looked at as a top team in the Prem again. I'm not saying that they're still, of course, one of the biggest clubs in the Prem, but consistently now challenging for titles. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's going to look like. To seeing really good players come up. I mean, like, think about getting Trossard now, adding that to the team. I think he was probably Brighton's best player at some point. So I'm really looking forward to it. Unfortunately,
I mean, I am too. And I really, what I again tell Blaine whenever he asks this question is like, I'm just excited to see them play Tuesday, Wednesday nights again. This Thursday stuff is no good. Champions League is what we need to be like, where we need to be every year. So I'm excited that they're going to be back in Champions League. Will they win the league? Let's hope they will, but one game at a time. What are your thoughts, Blaine? Are they going to win it? Every week we talk about this.
Every week it comes up. So I think while I stepped away, you guys were referring to the FA Cup tie where Nathan Ake had a side foot finesse finish.
Yeah.
Not convincing when Nathan Ake scores your only goal. I'll say this. Man City beat Chelsea 2-3 seasons ago whenever we won the Champions League, right? They beat us in the league. They pulled the double. And what did Kai Havertz do? So what I'm saying all that to say,
made fun of Raheem Sterling. Sorry, I said he made fun of Raheem Sterling. That was messed up.
Yeah,
he did that.
The point I'm making, or now I lost my train of thought, but I think if Arsenal can, I legitimately think they can hold on and win the league. I legitimately, like, if I were a betting man,
hope so.
I would put money on it. Just, I feel like this is the only reason why.
Get me excited.
So, I mean, they haven't been losing those games. They've been holding on. They've not been choking. The mentality is strong. They did actually buy some reinforcements. They might still buy a few more. Manchester City, Liverpool, Man United have all shown their weakness. Even though City beat them, like, I think Liverpool's losing to, I don't even know who they're playing in the FA Cup today. I think it's Brighton. It's actually Brighton. They're losing to Brighton. Man U, I mean, they look good. Newcastle, they look good, but I feel like Newcastle is like a mini version of Arsenal, where if anyone gets injured, that's a wrap. I feel like it's almost the same for Man U. Like if Bruno Fernandes gets hurt, if Marcus Rashford gets hurt, like that's basically the squad. I mean, and then the back line has been doing their thing, but that's basically the squad. Like Anthony's, right. I mean, as much as it pains me, he's useless. Anthony is useless. Eriksen,
his first assist, I think, didn't he? Did he just
call him a YouTube footballer?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I hate saying he's been, I mean, got his first assist, but the fact that he got his first assist at the end of the month, and anyway, the point being, I legitimately think Arsenal can hold on unless they get injured. I think them getting taken out of the FA Cup is actually a benefit for them. If they get dropped out of Europe,
I agree.
If they choose to play a lesser side and they get knocked out of Europe, I think all of these things can work in their favor. And I feel like historically, like when you're making like a run to like claim a title after years of not having a title, insert Leicester, insert Chelsea, if you're not playing in Europe, or it's like, I feel like when you're getting back to your groove, it's like you almost can't be contentious in any other competitions but the one. Like Chelsea, the first time they won the Champions League, I think they finished 6th in the table, right? They had blown the season by all accounts. When they last won the Champions League, it was the same thing. They had blown the season. By all accounts, they had blown the season. So, it's just how I felt. And then, and also under Conte, they didn't make the Champions League. And they made a crazy run to win a Premier League title. So I mean, obviously Arsenal's still in Europa, but I feel like, the sooner they drop out, the less likely they are to get one of their stars injured, the more likely they are to go on. And as far as Pep Guardiola and Man City are concerned, I think they put stock in the league, but they're really going for Europe. And then I
think so.
And then mean, and so what you're saying is like it's a dogfight between Man U, West Ham, Spurs, perhaps
Newcastle, Tottenham.
That's what I meant to say. I said West Ham. I meant Newcastle. And I mean, why not? Like, why can't Arsenal? Like, Arsenal has their players are better than all of those players. Why couldn't they hold on? So
yeah, I agree.
I
agree. It's so I see all these Arsenal fans out there making themselves look like fools, being like, we're back, and it's like, okay, it's a season, and we look good. And we look really good, and things are going well, and we have amazing players. But first of all, Arsenal's never been able to hold on to players. So let's hope that we can hold on to Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. And not only that,
Martinelli just signed that contract. Didn't he just sign an extension to 26? Right? Yeah.
So not only that, but then sign players, because Partey is out. That man's been holding it down this whole season for us. So who's going to come in for that?
Did he get injured? Did he get injured in the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was taken off. I think it's going to be interesting. And Brooks, I would say to you to make sure you're getting your cholesterol levels checked. As it's getting towards the end of this. I could see Arsenal winning, and it's been how long since the last one for Arsenal, right?
Over 20 years? Oh, 19 years?
So
2004.
That would be amazing to see. Be amazing to see 19 years, right?
It would be amazing to see.
But it's going to be tight, and I just hope that you stay healthy as you're going through that,
I'm going to the gym, I'm running, I'm doing the yoga, got my vitamins. Yeah, I'm drinking mate. So it's really fun to see. And I will say one last thing about them and the game against City is that, and not to hype us too much because I don't like to do this, but City did play everyone but Ederson. I mean, they came to win that game, and Arsenal played they had 6 changes from their first squad. So to only lose 1-0 to that kind of goal with 6 changes from your first team that's pretty good. That makes, I think that it was more of like a moral thing that Arteta was trying to do. It's like, hey, we only lost 1-0 without our full first team in. So in the league, I mean, to Blaine's point, when we play them in the league, we're going to go for it. Everyone's going to come in. We're all going to be looking good and healthy, and hopefully it's a different outcome. But if they can beat City one time when they have to play them this season, then I think it's theirs. I'm just not confident that they can beat City.
That's gonna be a big game.
They don't even have to beat City though. They just have to draw. Because they're 8 points clear right now with a game in hand. Or am I I haven't looked at the
with a game in hand.
Oh, is it 5 with a game in hand?
I think.
Okay, 5 games with a game in hand. If they just push City 2 times, that's stalemate. I don't even if I'm Arteta, I'm not even trying to win that game. I'm just playing.
Really?
I mean, why
right now.
Why take unnecessary risk? If you're taking if your goal is to win the league, I feel like this is where Jose Mourinho's mentality kicks in. You take calculated risk and you say this team we don't need to win, so why take it to them? There's no shame in parking a bus and knocking a ball around the park for 90 some odd minutes just to get the 1-1. So now you're 2 less games and you're both in your same position, and you go take the game to somebody else. You know what I mean? That's. I feel like if we're playing because you could try to win and you could end up losing by another Ake side foot finesse shot, 1 in a million, and it goes in and it's now okay. Now we're 2 points, and now all of a sudden, if we draw somebody else and they don't, now they're winning by 1 point, and it's Liverpool, Man City, the 2020 season all over again, right? Or was that this, or is it 21? Or is it 20? I can't remember.
And City's been there already.
Yeah,
and Arsenal haven't, and that's where the nerves we come in to
Yeah,
talk
you
about
just got to
coming.
assume City's going to win every game from now until the end of the league. And
Right.
if you still have 2 games and you can just push those and you can also win yours, which is a bet that you could take, you know, you don't need to beat City. You know, send the kids out and just stifle them for the whole game, which, I mean, I'm not saying don't really do that, but, you know, it's a tactic. It's a tactic that's worked in the past.
The last 4 weeks, I think, or 6 weeks, they play City, then they play Chelsea, then they play Newcastle. So that's like going to be a tough end to the season for them. But hey, you have to perform if you're going to be champions. So let's see what happens.
Yeah,
100%.
Getting nervous, hands are sweaty.
well, like Jimmy said, get your cholesterol right. You know,